Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Book Club with Darth Jesse. All right, we are working on the secrets of the tally. We are on chapter 2. Now, if you remember last week when we first started reading this book, we started out at chapter 1, and our main character, Allie, has no memory of what happened. We found out that she was attacked by an Ascali, and some of people that came to her aid were also really hurt and killed. She is currently hiding out with a group of traveling singing bakers. All right, so let's see what the next part of the adventure brings. Chapter 2. Stale, muggy heat escaped from beneath our table into the wind, and the old man of 1,000 smiles ducked down to peer in. The mages and search parties are all in the woods looking for you now. It is safe to come out of the furnace Corlys stuffed you into. Leaf leaped into the fresh air. She's a mage. She's going to the Dragona just like me. I pushed myself into the sunshine and grabbed the table's edge to get to my feet, thankful to be standing again. But feeling skittish now that I was out in the open, I glanced over my shoulder to make sure nobody lurked behind me. Which way is the Dragona from here, I asked. Why, so you can travel there by yourself? The old man chuckled. Come with us. We're leaving for the Dragona in a matter of hours, and we've got extra room on the cart. Though I was desperate, his offer made me uncomfortable. I couldn't accept more charity now that I already owed them for hiding me. I was not helpless. I really appreciate the offer, but I'm sure I can find my way there. I threw in a casual shrug to hide my distress and added, accepting help when you can help yourself is the sure sign of a thief. The saying came to my mind easily, like something said 1,000 times before. Well, that's a bunch of cow dung, he said, waving his hand, as though to clear the smelly air. Nobody travels alone. There are Ascalis in the woods. That word stopped my heart mid-beat. It represented the vile creature that had shed so much blood earlier in the day, and I immediately found myself searching for a diplomatic way to accept their company on the trip after all. I'll tell you what. I have a whole basin full of dishes that need to be washed before we can leave, the old man said. You look like you have yourself a good pair of arms on you. Are you a good throw? A good catch? I what? I don't know, I replied. That was the perfect solution, but it still set me on edge. I don't know why. I could help for a few hours, and they could get me back to the Dragona. I needed to say yes. I'm sure I can learn quickly, though. Excellent. Come over here, and we'll show you how to do it. And by the way, you can call me Osti. The old man Osti turned to lead the way, and I put a hand on Leaf's shoulders before he took off to join the kids' next game. Listen, I said, crouching down. You can't tell anybody what we were talking about, got it? I wasn't going to, he said, already astonished that I might doubt his loyalty. Because we're friends, right? You'll be the one and only person I know when we get to the Dragona. Sounds good to me. You'll be the only friend I have, too. The old man turned back to me and exclaimed, Allie, quit slacking. Leaf smiled before running off, and I almost smiled back as I dodged between two cooks on my way to the old wash basin. The traveling baking show only has one rule, and you need to follow. Throw everything, said the old man. When the cooks need something washed, they'll toss it to you. You can throw clean dishes to Corlys, and she'll dry them. I broke my gaze away from the basin as he flung a cup at the curly-haired Corlys, who wasn't even facing us. She caught it behind her head and tossed it onto the stack next to her station, never looking up from the vegetables she chopped. Bravo, old man Osti said. So you think you're ready? Yes, I said, unable to fake enthusiasm when I felt so empty. Stacks of breakable dishes lay submerged into the murky water, but I could only really focus on the settling ripples above them. An echo of my identity rested upon the water's surface, reflecting brown eyes set into an angular face I couldn't recognize. 17 years old, perhaps? I tilted my head a bit to the side to see my smooth skin in a different light, then snatched one of the ceramic dishes uncomfortably and attacked it with the scrub brush, distorting the reflection. Burning anger flared up in my chest as I assaulted the old bowl. How could this have happened? I had the overwhelming sense that I should be doing something important right now, not scrubbing dishes. But I had no idea what, and being so helpless, so useless, made my insides churn. What if my memories were permanently missing? The ceramic bowl shattered against the side of the wash basin. Oh no! I glanced quickly around to make sure nobody had noticed, waited 10 seconds, then slipped away to discard the bowl's remnants beneath a prickly bush. Returning with nobody the wiser, I picked up a new cup to clean. I scrubbed this one a little more carefully and began to rehash the past hour of my life, trying to reach further back in time and remember more. I had already run out of details to recall concerning the attack in the woods, and I only had a few other scraps of myself to cling to while investigating every corner of my mind. Liz, West, and the Dragonah were the only leads I could explore, but their names remained faceless and the Dragonah remained in an unimaginable building. I mindlessly tossed and caught dishes from the singing and dancing crew, far too preoccupied to take part in the camaraderie or poke fun at Asti like the rest of the bakers. Time slipped by surprisingly fast as I toiled with my thoughts, scrubbing at ceramic and wood until my hands wrinkled from the water and the crowd began thinning. What happened out in the forest? Asked Corliss, the only member of the crew who looked to be my age. The other cooks began to tear down the operation. Although I didn't really care about the dishes, the fact remained I hadn't finished them. Knowing that I owed her an explanation after she helped me, I shrugged and gave her the exact same short version I'd given Leaf. I left the predators, the scallies, out of my retelling because I had a lump rise in my throat when I tried to think about them. But I truthfully recalled the rest of it. At the end of my story, Corliss squinted incredulously and answered with the flat, "Uh-huh." "I know," I sighed, tossing 3 wooden spoons at her. "I'm having a hard time believing it myself." She dried each one thoughtfully with a towel and set them on the table beside her as I clenched my teeth and gathered my thoughts. "All I know right now is that I need to get to the Dragonah. We caught you at a good time then. We're getting excited to head up there and sell to tomorrow's eclipsable crowds." "What's an eclipsable?" I asked as I neared the bottom of the wash basin. She peered at me as though amused. "The Dragonah has been preparing for this for the past 6 months. Allie, don't you think you're taking this memory thing a little far, claiming you can't remember the biggest celebration on the continent?" "I'm not lying about this," I snapped, throwing a heavy cutting board at her with more force than necessary. I knew I needed to calm down, but my frustration would dissolve me into a blubbering fool if I didn't keep a strong front. She caught it easily as a short, balded man approached our tent, looking at me as though memorizing my every feature. "You look like the girl the mages are searching for," he said. I should have been scared sick by the thought of being turned in, but with so many crises already torturing me, I just felt incredibly annoyed. "I hope you're not talking about my daughter," Asti intervened on my behalf. Asti's wispy white hair made him far too old to be my father, but I appreciated the thought. The nosy skeptic didn't believe it either and repeated, "Your daughter? What's her name then?" "I don't believe that's any of your business, and you don't have any business being here. We're closing up." I picked up one side of my wash basin and shot Corliss a look that said, "Help me." She promptly grabbed the opposite handhold, and we lugged the heavy bucket to the trees to dump it. "I might have to run," I told her as dishwasher cascaded into the grass. I was equally willing to fight the guy, but that was a dead-end option. "Just wait first. Old Asti is better with words than you would believe." We returned to the tent where nearly 10 people had slowed their pace to watch the argument. Leaf watched with the most intensity, as though learning all he could from the interaction. Every time the short man tried to speak, Asti cut him off. It was almost comical, and I realized Asti's goal, to make the bystanders laugh rather than take this man seriously. Shorty was trying to say, "She has blonde hair, exactly the length," "And she's the only one," Asti interrupted, drawing his voice out to sound elderly. "No other girl with blonde hair even walked by today." The mages also said she was wearing calf-lacing sandals. "Will you stop looking at my daughter's legs already? We're trying to wrap up an honest day of work here." "Quit talking over me," the flustered man exclaimed. Instead of talking over him, Asti called the crew like he would any order. "I've got one nosy customer being quite rude." The crowd responded, "Invite him to come back and we'll spit in his food." Then the entire traveling baking show spit on the ground. I had to cover my mouth to hide my first true smile of the day. The first true smile of my new life. The people had stopped to watch began to leave with grins as well. The short man took off in a huff, and I muttered to his back, And that's why you never make an enemy of entertainers. As soon as he was out of sight, Osti said, "Let's get the cart loaded and hit the woods. We should leave before he sends the mages to ask questions, and we definitely don't want to be out after dark." I thought of a pitch-black forest where treetops blocked the stars, and the memory of Escalis constricted my chest again. I needed to know more about them, how to avoid them, how to kill them, but such a question was difficult to bring up. "Don't rush for my sake," I said, baiting them into an explanation. "I don't mind if we have to travel in the dark." All packing stopped as the entire traveling baking show turned to stare. Like every last baker thought they'd heard me wrong. Corliss only scoffed. "And how would you like your corpse found? Arms torn off, throat ripped out, and with a punctured lung where you took an elbow spike through your rib cage?" "Corliss," Osti scolded her as Leaf's eyes grew gigantic, only pointed at Leaf and whispered, "Parents." She immediately folded her arms and closed her mouth. I didn't want to stir up anyone's emotional hardships, but I needed more information. I'm only saying it shouldn't make a difference whether it's daylight or not. If anything, it should be harder for something to track us down in the dark. Corliss had just squinted with disbelief. Osti was the one who said, "You know, Escalis are built for tracking, right? They can see in the dark, following scent trails, and they hear everything." "Well, I'm sure we have enough of us to fight off of it if one finds us," I said. Corliss broke into laughter, and I felt my face heat with frustration. "Fight one off an Escali?" She took heart in the joke until she suddenly gasped and pursed her lips. "You weren't kidding what you told me, were you?" I took a slow breath to calm myself before saying, "I swear on my dead memories that I do not know anything about my past life. I don't know what this Escali is. I don't know what the Dragona looks like. I wouldn't know my name if you hadn't told me." The bakers caught on to the situation quickly, but their sympathetic looks and sighs made me want to bolt away. I wasn't weak. I didn't want their pity. "Before we leave, will somebody just tell me how to kill an Escali?" I asked. The lively group became even more solemn. "You just have to hope there are mages nearby," Osti said, "because we don't stand a chance otherwise. An Escali's skin is impenetrable. No matter how sharp of a knife you hold or how fast of an arrow you shoot, you can't cut through their hides. So to kill them, you either have to burn them or drown them or crush them or something. And even then, they can only shake off injuries unbelievably fast." All right, guys, I'm leaving off right there because I get to go down and hang out with the preschoolers today. So we will pick up in the middle of this chapter and hopefully finish the chapter later this week. For Briseida, Humberto, Roberto, and Denise, I would like you guys to pick out 5 interesting facts about this part of the chapter so far. Got it? 5 interesting facts. All right. I love you guys. We miss you. We are always constantly thinking about you guys. I can't wait to see you again and do book club in person. But until then, just remember, we love you all, and may the force be with you. Bye.